Damn, y'all feel that?
Yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah. A message to all you pseudo spitters. The sound is cool, but the trend I see is the truth is missing. I feel the flow is stupid. You claim that the music's different. I guess it's all opinion, depending on who was listening.
What's the word, y'all? It's KTR_podcast, hashtag KTR. We are KTR. We are back and we are in the building on this Halloween evening. Yes, we are recording this right now on Halloween, but when this episode goes out, it will be November. But tonight we are live and direct with episode 60. That's right, episode 60 of No Rose Podcast, hashtag KTR. We are KTR. We are back in the building, and I'm in with my brothers, Big Harv and J-Bo himself. How are y'all feeling today?
Doing good. In the spooky night. Doing well. Can't complain.
Yeah, man, I just got off work, so tired.
Well, go ahead, eat yourself a bad cake, because I'm sure you got plenty of it in the household, because today is Halloween. But before we dive into this episode, before we talk about, I can't get my words out today. Before we dive into this episode, before we get into these topics, before we get down to business, y'all got to do this one simple favor for us, and that is to follow all social media platforms, KTR_podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, Another Rose Podcast, Facebook, YouTube, Another Rose Podcast, all podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, probably want everything. And don't forget to get your merch at prowrestlingtees.com/KTR podcast. Let's get it. Let's go and let's get into the show. We got some topics here and there. Got some topics everywhere around this wrestling community, this wrestling world, because that is what goes on, what goes down in this business. And we can start with just, I guess, a little bit of recognition for a certain superstar.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Sami Zayn, the honorary Uce, who might be an official Uce one day down the line. The man's been on fire lately. Can't knock him for it. He's been probably one of the top 3 entertaining things, entities, whatever going on within the WWE right now, right alongside with Bray Wyatt with his return, and he probably second in line. Not gonna lie about it. Sami Zayn has been on a roll lately with his whole storyline with the Bloodline, giving them a break character every time they do a segment with each other. He's gold right now. He's on fire.
Yeah.
Like how do y'all feel about this whole storyline with Sami Zayn and the future to come with him and everything he's doing right now?
I'll start off with Sami Zayn, because I'll be the first one to admit that for a while, me personally, I just was not interested with Sami Zayn for a good amount of time, and that doesn't mean that his work on television was bad. Like when he had the whole conspiracy theory gimmick, that was good. When he had the whole random matchup with old boy from Jackass at WrestleMania, it was an entertaining match. It probably wasn't the best wrestling match you saw, but it was entertaining as heck. So whatever he had, it worked. And then they just randomly threw him with the Bloodline, and for a while it was just like okay, he's out of place. But slowly but surely, he is making his character work to a T. It's hilarious. It's entertaining. The second he gets the mic and just hear what he's going to say is going to work. There's all kind of avenues we can, take from that. We could see as Sami Zayn trying to pick apart the Bloodline. You can see Sami Zayn kind of piece by piece eventually break apart everyone and go against Roman Reigns for the belt. I mean, there's multiple different ways you can go about it. But the beautiful thing about this entire storyline is that it's entertaining. It's entertaining from start to finish. No matter what way it goes, it's great to watch. So yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes.
I agree with all that, man. Sammy has made shit shine, on several occasions. The conspiracy gimmick was pretty shitty. He made it shine. Even when he didn't really have much of a gimmick, NXT, and when he came up and was just fighting Kevin Owens, that was pretty much his whole thing. He made it relevant. He's kept himself relevant regardless of what he's been given. And of course, that's commendable. You know, he's a great talent. And he's hilarious. Like he showed how hilarious he was when he started with that conspiracy gimmick. And you know, I think that's why they paired him with Knoxville from Jackass, because he was comedic relief, but he could also wrestle. He is the total package. You know what I'm saying? He can do all the entertaining things that they need him to do, and he can wrestle his ass off. The only thing I don't really see happening because of this, I don't think the payoff is going to be any type of world title run for Sami Zayn. Yeah. I just don't see that in the cards in WWE for him. Even with Triple H at the head, there are so many other people ahead of him, and so many other people that fit the bill more than Sami Zayn. I don't think it's going to happen. I do think it's going to keep him in the upper mid card, area. I think he might even get a title shot. I just don't think he's going to get a run. But he is doing fantastic.
They even teased a little bit a while ago. They stopped it completely, but there was a tease of Kevin Owens getting involved, and they were going to potentially form a tag team again. And I could see a route where, if Kevin Owens was still involved, where Sami Zayn again trying to break up the group, finally getting set side their heads. Kevin Owens getting involved, they team up, and then they're the ones to take the straps off. I could see that being more realistic than Sami Zayn going after Reigns and actually winning, like you said. But
I saw that concept online too, and I thought it was actually really intriguing. And that's another thing. It's going kind of over long. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty much just treading water. It's not really going anywhere with him being in this specific spot in the bloodline. So around that time when that was around on the internet, that little thought that people were having that maybe Kevin Owens would join and then they start separating and taking the titles. I thought that was a good idea. But if that had happened, we wouldn't see him having everybody break character every week on TV. So, you kind of take the good and leave the bad with it, but he's doing good.
Yeah. With that's probably was the rumor going around saying there was a reason that the whole storyline with Kevin Owens got put on hold because of the great thing Sami Zayn has been doing with the bloodline lately, and it has been doing numbers pretty much. A lot of entertaining things. And shoot, he's been portraying that even with his social media channels, with all the memes he's posted on his page, it like just carries on off-site from just the work.
And calling Rikishi Pops. That is
exactly
the world.
So but like I said, I agree with everything you said. Like it's a great plan in place to, possibly help figure out how to break down the bloodline in the future, because it has to happen somehow, some way, because it can't go on forever, unfortunately. And so this is probably the best way to do it with, just that inside intel with Sami Zayn to help, separate all that with, the whole Canadian connection with Kevin Owens, or just something internal just with him by himself. There's will is a way, and I believe they're going to find a way with Sami Zayn. But hopefully he continues to do all the great things he has been doing with the bloodline as the honorary Uce. Keep it Ucey. Next up, let's see. We're going to talk about some not pay-per-views, but some premium live event changes in the future with the World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yeah, I will never be able to call it a PLE. No, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
A PLE?
It's always going to be a
pay-per-view.
Yeah, I can see that. But
it's always going to be a pay-per-view.
You know what? I prefer premium live events because the pay-per-views back in the day, it was costing $49.99, $59.99 for a show.
I get the point.
These premium live events only cost me $4.99 a month, and I'm happy with it.
They're not pay-per-views anymore, and I get the push on that name change. It just doesn't roll off the tongue like pay-per-view.
It'll grow on you one day, hopefully, maybe. But with these
there you go.
premium live, with these PLE changes, though, there are talks and rumors about removing a couple of them. And two of them were Hell in a Cell and Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
For Hell in a Cell, sound like they're trying to remove it completely. And with the Money in the Bank, it looks like they were trying to just move just the specific Money in the Bank matches back to WrestleMania again, where it all started, and not having as its own show. And with that, I I can agree to like half of it. I'll say for the Hell in a Cell part, they should eliminate that one completely because it's probably like only probably two at best Hell in a Cell matches on a pay-per-view. You know, sometimes three if we get lucky if they put a tag team in there, but it's usually just the men's championship and the women's championship, and that's it pretty much. And with that, you know, and especially how they just change the color of the cell, which makes it worse. So with that, I feel like they should just, you know, put a Hell in the Cell and just a random pay-per-view when somebody wants to have a serious match and not just make it televised and just strictly for a premium live event if you're not going to use a cell in every match.
Yeah.
Now for Money in the Bank, they should leave that one, I'll say. Because Money in the Bank really has, in my mind, the potential to be part of the big four of the anticipation that goes into it, especially with how the storylines go into the whole development of these Money in the Bank matches. You know, because the whole thing about it is about the briefcase. You know, and with that, you could just have like multiple matches like throughout the night, but the main thing is those two briefcase matches. It's kind of like the same thing when it comes to a Royal Rumble, you know, because you know you're gonna have matches in the Royal Rumble, but at the end of the day, everybody's looking forward to who's gonna win the Royal Rumble in the men's side and the women's side. So with that, I agree. They should keep Money in the Bank, but I agree they should eliminate Hell in a Cell. What y'all think?
Dude, concept shows, concept pay-per-views, concept premium live events, those are always, I don't know, a selective conversation with me because I like concept shows like Royal Rumble. That's a clear and obvious one. But the Royal Rumble, you know, you don't ever really know who's coming out next. So you have that mystery element to it. There's War Games. They're trying to bring that concept show back. So hey, I agree with the title like War Games.
So
but then you
combine that with Hell in a Cell for real.
Yeah, honestly, you could. And so, and I think I read somewhere on the blogs where Hunter wants to not get rid of Hell in a Cell, but use Hell in a Cell as like an accumulation match, like a long storyline finally accumulates. Like, you know, there's blood drawn, rubber match. We need to get this over with type of thing. And I'm all on board with that. I see what you mean with Money in the Bank, but my only thing is, I don't know, for the common fans, if you think about it, if you win Money in the Bank, you have 1 year until WrestleMania to cash it in. If you do it at WrestleMania, it kind of just makes sense to have that entire year leading up until WrestleMania. Also, it also gives wrestlers WrestleMania moments. You know, we talked on this show before. Yeah, you know, Money in the Bank definitely has the potential to be one of the big four. It really do. But I don't know. It can honestly go either way with me. I like how they started it, having that WrestleMania, making their WrestleMania moment. The only flaw that throws in there is now we have women's matches in there. You can't really have two Money in the Bank ladder matches at WrestleMania every year. That's a bit overkill.
Even with two separate nights.
Well, two separate nights, yeah, but I still
that's
think
a whole nother story. I don't think that has longevity either. That's a whole nother story.
With two separate nights in WrestleMania?
Yeah.
You don't like it?
Nah.
Really?
What?
We'll talk about it later. Go continue, Jay. I'm sorry.
I don't know. It just depends on your preference. Money in the Bank could really go either way. But overall, yeah, I don't really care too much for concept matches. Like I said, I'm kind of contradictory with Royal Rumble and War Games. But like Extreme Rules, you can work that out. You can have a tables match here, cage match there, Extreme Rules match there. TLC, you can have a tables match here, ladders match there, no disqualification match there. You can have like a range. But shows that have like a specific match to be the show and not everyone is in that match, I'm not really with it. So I like the direction where premium live events are going.
I actually agree more with Cinko this time around. That is rare. That is very rare. Yeah. I absolutely think that Hell in a Cell should just be rubber matches, grudge matches. Whenever you know everything's just gotten to the highest point, nothing else you can do. Got to box it out in the cell. Yeah. Money in the Bank to me has grown into its own thing. Like it's basically a title. It's a title that you have a time limit on. You got to use it to cash up and, you know, move up to something bigger and better. So I do think that has more space as far as being its own thing, because that's the whole point of things like the Royal Rumble. There's title matches at the Royal Rumble, even world title matches. But the point of the Royal Rumble is the Royal Rumble. King of the Ring, when that was a thing. The point of that, whole thing was that King of the Ring match. Sometimes it was the whole tournament. Sometimes it was just the finale. Survivor Series, titles don't matter. It's about that particular match. So I feel like because of the stipulations and the high stakes of Money in the Bank, it makes more sense for it to be its own thing.
Makes sense. I'm with it.
Look at you. That's rarity right there. See, look, we agreed on something, so I'm right this time. So yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, but like I said, the Money in the Bank, like I said, just feel like that should just be his own show. Like I just really just agree with that. Like I don't think that needs to be on WrestleMania. Like I get people have like WrestleMania moments, they could find ways of doing stuff. That's why I implemented those big battle royales for the men and women, just something. I know it's lackluster, I get it, but if they did put the Money in the Bank matches on WrestleMania, they gotta eliminate their battle royal for both of them. Sorry, but yeah, some gotta give, and that's that. But I understand because they want to give everybody a chance to be on the biggest show of the year, and that's really like the best opportunity to do it, doing a 30-man over the top rope, to get everybody on the roster a chance to a spotlight, because you see people on there like, damn, I see this person like 8 months and he here. So yeah, because they're not going to get it on the Royal Rumble. Right. The Royal Rumble is saved for, the big names and people for surprise entrances, So if you did that for like WrestleMania for a Money in the Bank match, those people gonna lose out on opportunities. It ain't gonna be like, like a Reggie gonna be on that in that match, unfortunately. I mean, that's the best thing because we ain't seen him on TV in the I was thinking about somebody seen on TV. So yeah, I mean, shout out to him, St. Louis and everything. We love him, but it's like he ain't been on TV recently and something like that. So like that's just the whole, example. Yeah, so like that's the best thing to get, like give people opportunity, chance to like get a TV time for the big stage for that WrestleMania moment, because you take that away, you just put it with a ladder match with Money in the Bank, then it's gone.
Yeah.
Cool. We can use this time to transition to our next topic, which is called Harv's Thoughts.
Yeah.
And before we get into the real topic of Harv's Thoughts, we're gonna touch on the whole thing with WrestleMania, because he just said he's not in agreement with WrestleMania being 2 nights. And why is that hard?
That's just too much to me. I feel like NXT should have been on Saturday and WrestleMania on Sunday. You don't need 2 nights.
I mean, they got NXT on that Friday, or was it Saturday afternoon?
Too much. That's too much.
That's overkill.
You're trying to do too much.
Okay.
That's overkill. You got SmackDown. You got Raw. You got NXT. You got SmackDown. Then you got 2 nights of WrestleMania, and you got to squeeze in that NXT somewhere. That's too much. It's too much playing. So you got to buy tickets for 2 nights.
So that's true too, but that's a money.
It's more money grabbing to me than it is anything else. Because you watched it. You were there for 1 night, but me and Jay Bo watched it. If they had gotten rid of the BS matches, the filler matches, there was 1 excellent night of WrestleMania quality matches in those 2 nights. You don't need all that. You just don't, in my opinion. I mean, I feel like it's really they're trying to recover what they lost from COVID. It makes sense. I understand why.
I see from that standpoint where you just said right there with the filler matches and everything. Because I was thinking about how you feel there was just 1 WrestleMania and they made it for like a whole 6 to 7 hours, because it was that one time, I think was like was the year 2018, 2019, when we all first got together at J-Bo crib and watched WrestleMania. And it was like for 6 hours?
It was like 6 hours.
Exactly. So would you rather sit through a 6-hour show or watch a 3.5 hour show one night and 3.5 hour show the next night?
I would still rather get it all done in one sitting.
I don't know.
Live is a little different. Being there live is a little different. But if I'm watching, I'd
I ain't
rather
gonna,
just
hey, I ain't
get
gonna
it
lie
all
to you.
over with.
Being there live, it's a little worse. Like for real. Being there live, if it's a dead period and you're there live and you can't hear commentating and you're just around people and you,
Oh yeah,
you really just sit like this and like, damn, I'm tired. Like it hits you. It really hits you. You know when we.
And that's just,
also
but see,
depends
that's
on
more to
time
my
zone,
point
too.
though. Just
You said
being
what?
there live, you hella tired.
But you look, being alive and hell of time.
And you was there for one
look
night.
at it like this. Let's say we at the at WrestleMania on the East Coast, like in Florida or something like that. And that shit started like 6. It's damn near 1:00 in the morning. They got 2 matches left. I'm gonna be sitting here like this. I'm like,
They gonna have to start earlier. But that's what I'm saying is you was there for the second night or the first, whichever night.
I was there second night.
The second night. Yeah. And you felt like that. You was only there for that one night.
See, I'm not gonna say I wasn't.
Regardless, niggas gonna be passing out regardless.
But the thing, I passed out when it was basically done, though. That's the thing about it. I ain't gonna lie, sit through a long ass show do get to you, man.
But okay, but on that same point, so you're talking about 2 nights, and both nights, they're 4 or 5, if not longer, hour shows. Even one night you have 6-7 hours of content. You can't tell me that throughout that long content, even if all the matches are dope, by hour 4 or 5, you're still up ready to watch the co-main event, main event. You're tired at that point. So despite the fact of how many, shows they have within the weekend, just one show itself is already extremely long. Doubling that by 2, the let's say 4 of the matches you care about is 3 of them is on one night. And then the other night, one match you care about is in the beginning. You're definitely not going to sit through. Now you lost my interest. But if you put all 4 matches that you care about on one night, you're more than likely to be interested the entire night from start to finish. So I agree with Harv.
Good point. That's a good point too.
It really depends, man. It like shit. Sitting through 6.5 hours for a show instead of 3. But I get it though. I get it, man. Because that's why I only went to one night at WrestleMania because I wasn't doing both. Because that shit long as hell.
No show should be 6.5 hours long, and that's just on principle. It just should not be that long. Even if you cared about all the matches, you're just not going to have enough energy by the end of the night. You're just not.
You're not, man, at all.
Yeah, because it definitely gets to you. This ain't the age talking. That's just real. That's just real.
Yeah, that's real. Diehard. I feel like the diehard fans, people that actually live wrestling, would have a hard time with it.
Yeah,
they gonna enjoy it. That's what they live for, but still, it's taxing.
Right.
I'm tired, boy.
If you look at for the best WrestleManias, you look like WrestleMania 17 or WrestleMania 2000, whatever. Those shows like maybe 4 hours long, whatever. But you enjoyed it from start to finish. Just you felt great at the end of it. You didn't feel drained at the end of it.
That's the sweet spot. For a big spectacle like WrestleMania, 4 hours should be the cap. Even if you have like an hour before for the reviews and the pre-show and all that, cool. Everybody ain't gonna watch that. You pick it up and you put it down. That's up to you. But as far as the show, 4 hours solid, that should be no problem. Just one night.
Yeah.
I see from your standpoint. I'm still for the 2-night thing. That's if it's one night in 4 hours, now I'll agree with. But the recent years when I had one night, it's been going on after 5. Yeah, I can't do that. I'm sorry. I'll be pulling up the WrestleMania 3 hours late. Like I'm coming to a club or a party.
4 titles had already changed hands and he just strolling into the arena.
Well, shit. Walk in, the person in my seat, get up. That's what's gonna be like.
I wasn't coming then.
Right, exactly. Cool. Another part of Harv's thoughts. I wanted to bring this up because I saw him made a post about this in recent weeks. Harv stated that Triple H, granted, before I say the statement, Triple H has been doing a great job of what he has been accomplishing in WWE since Vince McMahon's retirement Let's say that first. But with this, Harv did state that Triple H has been dropping the ball a little bit when it comes to the women's division and the tag team division. I'm going to let you elaborate on that.
I will elaborate on that. I'm glad you asked it, sir. The tag team division, I feel, is less egregious than the women's division. They've just fallen back into old habits with the women's division. And to a degree, the tag team division. They brought back Braun Strowman, and what did he do for a month? Rolled through tag teams. Established tag teams. People that they had there that actually had a little bit of traction that could have actually been challenges in the future. Also, the Usos have been tag champs for a very long time, but that's not really the focus of what they're doing right now. So the tag titles, even though they look important because they are on the most popular and the biggest faction in wrestling right now, they're just there. They're props at this point. They're there because they belong to the group. You know what I mean? So to me, I feel like that division is not doing as strongly as it could be. The women, I feel like, is up and down. It's nobody cares, in my opinion, about what Ronda Rousey's doing right now. They just brought back Emma. Emma didn't get a cheer. She didn't get a sound when Emma came out. That was supposed to garner some reaction and get Ronda some heat, and it did not. It didn't do anything.
Man,
that entire
I was there live.
That is dead. You hear me? I know you were. You could hear the wind blowing through that movie. Right? It was quiet. And that's not a knock on Emma. They did Emma wrong while she was there. Emma was never a terrible talent. They just saddled her with terrible gimmick. So it's no fault of her own, but it's a testament to how nobody really cares about Ronda Rousey, who was at one time the biggest female attraction in the world. All right. The tag titles, again, who cares? What is the point? What are they doing with them? Nothing. They just had a segment on Raw tonight. I was watching. Nikki Cross has come back. Who cares? All right, they don't do anything with Nikki Cross. They didn't do anything.
That was a little stale too when she made her comeback last week.
Really stale. They had her come back at the expense of the group that they are trying to build, who've won the tag titles and haven't done anything with them. Bayley has been chasing this same world women's title for going on 6 months now since she came back and hasn't done anything. They're just treading water. So I do feel like those divisions have pretty much not done much since Triple H come back or has started his takeover. He's had a whole segment on Raw with 6-7 women, 3 titles or 2 titles, but nothing to do with the titles. Had nothing to do with it.
Well, they did just announce that tonight that they're going to have a women's tag team title match.
Okay. How long have they had the titles?
A month.
What have they done with them?
Showcase until the next pay-per-view. That's what they usually do. They wait for the title match for the pay-per-view. They're going to do it, what's the name?
Not for a title like the women's tag titles. Don't defend it. They just brought them back from not being defended for months. Not doing anything with them.
So I can, if you don't mind, one problem that the women's tag division always had is from the moment when they introduced the women's tag team titles, there were never any truly established tag teams. At the time, was the Iconics. There was pretty much the only real established ones at that time. But when they brought in their tag belts, I mean, they just threw women together just to make tag team, just to have something for the tag division. And that's pretty much been the theme throughout the entire women's tag team division, even to this day. They're not taking time to truly build women's tag teams. And that's always going to be an issue for the women's tag team division. That's probably why no one cares. The problem with the Usos and the Usos tag team championships is that they got established tag teams. They do. They got that. And they're bringing in more and more tag teams. But as Harv has mentioned, they're nothing more than props. With the Usos don't even really care about what's going on in the tag team division. They care more about what's going on in the bloodline right now.
The bloodline,
so
yeah.
That
the
makes
faction is bigger than the titles.
It's bigger than a title, and that makes the championships less important. I like to go back to when Drew McIntyre was the WWE champion for the first time. Every month, he had a different challenger, and he built a storyline every single month. And it helped elevate not only Drew McIntyre with the belt, but it helped Seth Rollins. It helped Bobby Lashley. It helped Randy Orton. It helped everybody that he stepped into the ring with that belt. The Usos can easily do that same thing with the numerous tag teams that they got out right now. But because the bloodline is the most hottest thing right now, which is probably another reason why they're not going to focus on the tag team division, because the bloodline brings in money. The bloodline brings in entertainment. Why take any attention away from what the heck they're doing if that's what's making the money right now? So yeah, I do exactly see Har's point. There's ways to fix it. Like I said, the more tag team matches and have more established tag teams in the women's division, but I don't think there will ever truly be a focus in the women's division like that. And again, the bloodline's too hot to make any changes right now. Yeah.
So when it comes to the women's division, let's see, from my standpoint, I see why they did make the tag team titles, just to provide more opportunity for them to get more TV time and to help elevate a status for them, because, put a title on somebody, helps, boost them up for, a reason. And so,
not if the title doesn't mean anything, though.
That is true, but that's their thing for titles, just to get that, that shine for them. Like, that's why he brought a 24/7 title in, stuff like that.
Title in the U.S. title did nothing for nobody who held the belt for like the better part of the last 4 or 5 years. So even if you have a championship, it doesn't mean anything if there's no focus in where you're going with the belt. And that's what they're dealing with right now in both the tag division and the women's division.
So I probably feel like there will be no point of bringing in a mid-card title for the women now.
No, because they already got a women's
championship.
If they replaced it with the tag team titles.
Yes. I feel like that is a much better choice than a tag team division. I feel like it's a better choice. I still feel like it'll flounder, but it makes more sense because there are no established tag teams. Then you don't have to focus on that. They're not going to focus on that. We know they're not going to focus on establishing a tag team women's division, even if they go back and forth between NXT and regular WWE. Even if they flex it like that, they're not going to focus on building women's tag teams. So a mid-card title makes more sense.
Yeah, that does.
Then you ain't got to do all that. You ain't got to do all that. Okay, we're going to be tag team for 2 months, and then we're going to break up. You don't hear from me, but I'm a debut and just cause chaos, which is what they just did with Nikki ASH and Where's Dewdrop. They were just in a tag team.
Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley was probably the most awkward tag team they had with the belts. But that's a pure example of Harv's point. Let's tag team for the first few weeks, win the belts, and now we're going to hold it for the next 6 months. No, it's wild, really.
So with that, I can see it's in the beginning stages right now. And I understand Triple H is going through a lot, bringing in a lot of talent and everything, and giving people more opportunities with their TV time. And I feel like at that point, it's just like, okay, he gives you a chance, he lets you debut, lets you get your shine, and see how you do on TV. And from there, I think he's just trying to figure out a way to get everybody on that roster, some type of opportunity for them to get their shine and see what they do with it, then go forward from there. Because I have been noticing he has been doing a good job of putting people in rotation on shows on a weekly basis. He's been doing that. But I can see from like Harv's standpoint where it's talking about, when it comes to the relevancy of the titles in these two divisions, that it is floundering to a certain degree.
Triple H is doing excellent. He's not doing terribly by any means. I just feel that the tag, I've been said tag, the women's tag titles need to go. They're just pointless. They resurrected them. They're still pointless. Get rid of them. It's just wasting time at this point, and I feel like they need to do something with the tag teams. They can have the whole bloodline thing going, and they can have an actual feud going. I mean, they can do that. I need them to do that. You know, if we go back to the heyday of like the Attitude Era, everybody in the faction had beef with somebody. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's how factions form to take down the big faction. Is, you know, they still have outside beefs and still bring what they bring to the table.
True, I agree.
Yeah, it's very easy fix, and I mean, we didn't expect to see this many changes this early anyway. I remember back when we was talking about when he first took over, we thought it was going to be a lot slower burn with his changes. It hasn't been. It's been pretty swift. So he definitely has room to grow and things to work on, but he's doing great. Those are just two things that I noticed. I'm just, critical like that.
We know. You know you're not going to hold your tongue back for nobody, sir. Cool. Do we got enough time to touch on this last topic? I don't know how long we've been recording. We got time. It won't take long because I'll let y'all take over because I don't know much about what happens overseas in Japan. But it looks like WWE opened themselves up a forbidden door, and we are in shock about it. I'm gonna let y'all take over because I have no idea what the names are on this match card. So go ahead, J-Bo himself, speak on it.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, there's not much to talk about. Pretty much the main news is going on is that the Great Muta is going on a farewell tour, and WWE has granted Shinsuke Nakamura the opportunity to wrestle within the farewell tour against the Great Muta. It looks like it's going to be, he's going to wrestle multiple times. So Shinsuke is just one of the opponents that he's going to have over dates. But I think the biggest shock here is that obviously Shinsuke is a contracted WWE wrestler, and he's getting the opportunity to wrestle pretty much for New Japan Pro Wrestling based type promotions within this tour in order for him, to show up for the tour. I know a lot of people is shocked by this, mainly because it's the forbidden door, I guess you could say. I don't know if I really want to call this a forbidden door right now, mainly because this is one opportunity for a very specific reason. The Great Muta being one of the greatest, I was going to say Japanese wrestler, but honestly one of the greatest wrestlers that we've had in our lifetime. But what I view about this, though, is that some people were saying that, this isn't really that special. Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, they've been having this forbidden door thing happening for a while. So the fact that they'll be doing, like, they should have been doing this. I think my only thought on it is that, no, they really don't have to do it because they're the WWE. They're the top wrestling organization in the world. So they don't have to do what other wrestling organizations is doing. But I do think it's great. I said on social media, I look forward to the match. It's something that I would study and I would enjoy from start to finish. Good ring chemistry, strong style. Clearly, it's going to make his face in it. So yeah, it's great to see something like this happen. I doubt much of this will happen anytime in the future, but it's still good to see.
I agree. I just think it's going to be nice for me personally to see Shinsuke Nakamura actually do something worthwhile. That's not even really a knock. It is kind of, but it's really just that he's a completely different performer. Shinsuke Nakamura is amazing, and a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people who have never gotten to witness how good that dude is. Great Muta is amazing. You know what I'm saying? He's been around since forever now. That's why he's going on a farewell tour. So he's well credentialed. We know. It's just been so long since I've seen Shinsuke Nakamura actually put on an excellent match, and I feel like this is going to be a really good one. So I'm looking forward to it.
For WWE fans, like to piggyback off of Harv, who have not seen how great Shinsuke is, WWE actually gave you a glimpse of it. If you look back at his debut match against Sami Zayn, that is a pure taste of how Shinsuke can go. He hasn't had a real match like that since he's been in the WWE. So back to Harv's point, I think we'll finally get an opportunity to see something like that again when he gets into the ring with Great Muta. I think that's why a lot of diehard fans is looking forward to this match, because we know the potential that Shinsuke has. And Shinsuke, he still can go. Like you can tell he still got a lot in the tank. So
he got a lot there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a wrestling clinic with this guy.
Then they also was it was somebody else who came in and fought somebody from New Japan. I always forget dude's name. In NXT, he had a special match. Wasn't it Sami Zayn?
Sami Zayn against somebody else from New Japan. That wasn't Ultimo Dragon, was it?
No.
I don't know. I'll probably do some quick research.
Yeah, you have to look that one up. But it was he was very well known. I can see his whole little get up.
Yeah, no, not coming to me. Not coming to me at all.
One of them old NXTs. I'll get up on the next episode.
Find out.
I have no idea what's going on, so we're not going to ask me about this topic. I don't know who the Great Muta is, but that's fine. My brother just told y'all who he is and told y'all what's going on and said what's happening. But with that, that's all the time we have today for episode 60. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for subscribing. Thank you for everything that y'all have been doing for Know the Ropes podcast. But before y'all sign off, y'all got to do this one simple favor for us, and that is to follow us on all social media platforms, KTR_podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Know the Ropes podcast, Facebook, YouTube, Know the Ropes podcast, all podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, probably on everything. And don't forget to get your merch at ProWrestlingTees.com/KTR podcast. Let's get it. Let's go. And that's the end of the show. This is episode 60. KTR. Hashtag KTR. We are here, but we are out.
Big Harv. Let our Ucey fans know what they should be doing.
Our Ucey fans better keep it juicy and pump them numbers.
That don't compute in my mind, I must be out of mind. Black fist high, rally up before we out of time.